Try it before you buy it. Hi, Vicky Kelty here with an episode of Language Learning Report Card Podcast. My study hits were that I had a fabulous time trying out my voice message speaking practice offer on my own with both Spanish and French. But my study busts were that I didn't get to do the conversation back and forth, and I didn't have the feedback from a teacher because I'm not a French or Spanish teacher. I'm an English teacher. So try it before you buy it. What am I talking about? Well, I am obviously talking about voice message speaking practice and the trial that you can do so that you can test it out before you jump in with both feet. And I decided to do a few months of trying it for myself because I basically create the things that I create because I want to use them as well for my own learning. So I took my voice message speaking practice questions and translated them to Spanish and to French and sent them to myself for a couple of months. And then I recorded my own responses. And like I said, the downside was that I didn't have somebody to interact with because the idea of voice message speaking practice is for it to be a conversation, not for it to be just a one-sided voice message. You know, when you send a message to your friend and you are telling them part of a story and what you want is for them to respond back as if you were on a phone call together so that you can continue and for them to be like, oh, I can't believe that so-and-so did that to you. And then what happened? And then you respond back and tell them more of the story. Well, that is the idea of it, that you have your question to get you started. You chat about whatever you think of in connection to that question. And then I would respond back to keep the conversation going. And then you send one last message to tie up any loose ends. And then I can give you feedback on that little conversation that we had. With my use of it for Spanish and French, I really just wanted to have specific things to talk about with Spanish and French. So I didn't have to think things through at all. I am used to doing solo speaking. I do it all the time. In a way, I'm doing it right now as I record this in my apartment. I'm just talking to myself. But sometimes it's just nice to have the topic given to you so you don't have to think about like, oh, what do I want to focus on today? And then you go down this rabbit hole and 2 hours later, you have Wikipedia open and you are looking at the, story of the Titanic and who knows? Like the point being that you have completely forgotten about what your original intention was of doing some practice. And so in order to avoid that distraction, I gave myself specific questions to answer in Spanish and in French. And that's what I did. And it was really nice. I did the first message of responding to the question. I spoke about it. I got to practice the specific grammar point and specific vocabulary that those questions were meant to have me practice because, yes, there is secret language intentions for each of the questions that I choose for voice message speaking practice. But I did the one response to my question and then continued on with my day. And generally, I did my practice while I was going on walks. So if anybody in town ever heard me talking into my phone in Spanish or in French, it was probably because I was practicing my voice message speaking practice response for myself. And yeah, I hope they enjoyed listening to it. I think that voice message speaking practice, obviously, I'm going to say that it's a amazing way to practice your speaking. And I found it personally to be really convenient. Open up my email, respond to the question that I had been given for that day, and continue my walk, basically, or continue my day, and just check, cross that off my list. And I felt like I did it. I had done the speaking that was my intention for that week. And so it gave me weekly speaking practice with both French and Spanish. That, granted, Spanish, I do have Spanish around me a lot. So it was just that moment of like specific, intentional Spanish practice on a given topic. And with French, the thing is that I wasn't regularly doing French practice. So that was a moment for me to make sure that I was really doing some speaking in French. Basically, like, keep that comfort zone more comfortable, because you know how they say, like, get out of your comfort zone? Well, when you're out of your comfort zone, you're not comfortable, right? So if I'm not speaking French a lot, then speaking French is out of my comfort zone. But when I am regularly speaking French, then that's something that I'm used to. It's something I'm comfortable doing. So then it's not out of my comfort zone to do it. It's just part of my normal life. It's something in my comfort zone. So I did find that it was more just comfortable. I would use the same word. Yeah, that it was more comfortable for me to do it. And I think that I'll probably start it back up again, having reflected on it now, that I would like to be consistently doing French speaking practice. The Spanish, I don't mind about that one as much. But the French one, I would like to make sure that speaking French is within my comfort zone, so that when opportunity knocks for me to speak French, because it's around me weekly in my life, I will feel good about doing it. I will feel comfortable, right? That's the goal, is that you want using the language to be in your comfort zone. So when the opportunity arises to use it, it's not a shock to your system. You are like, oh yeah, this is something I do on a regular basis. This is no big deal. Even if it's a conversation that you aren't practicing all the time, doesn't matter. You're still around the language and you're speaking it specifically. Like, that is the big thing that I got out of this experience, is that I was regularly speaking both French and Spanish, but specifically for French, because that opportunity isn't around me very much, it can be like a shock to my system to have the opportunity to speak French. And if I'm not doing it regularly, then it's out of my comfort zone. And so I want to always be in that like relaxed state. Okay, maybe it won't be 100% relaxed, but in a more relaxed state, so that it's not that surprise of, oh no, I can't use it. It's the, oh great, this is what I've been practicing for. And then I will speak to that person and say something in French, even if I'm just saying, hi, how are you? Like, that's still really fun to be able to have that interaction with somebody. So that is why I used my own voice message speaking practice. And that's why I share with you that, hey, why not give it a try? You can head over to vickykelty.com and trial the voice message speaking practice for your English learning and see how fun it is to have a little voice message conversation back and forth to practice your English speaking. And you even get feedback on it. So you have all your bases covered. You have your speaking, you have your conversation, and you also receive feedback. And then you can continue using voice message speaking practice after the trial. And we will have tons of conversations on all the topics that you could possibly imagine so that you can also be ready for the next conversation in English that comes your way. No shock, no surprise. You'll be ready. It'll be in your comfort zone because you'll already be regularly doing it. Okay, now I'm going to go prepare some more voice message speaking practice questions in French for myself because I just reminded myself of all the reasons that I benefited from doing it. Thanks for this pep talk. Really helped me to remember why I do what I do. And yeah, regular speaking, it does help. Have a fabulous day. Any questions, or if you'd like to know more about voice message speaking practice, you can always send me an email at hola@vickykelty.com. Happy speaking. Bye.